Hey guys, it's Clinton Davis and let's just get into it. So today I want to talk about iMessage. Now they've recently come out with a thing where you can have games on iMessage and you can play them multiplayer with the people you're messaging. I think it might attract some regular console gamers to the mobile gaming community when they can play multiplayer now. And some of the games are pretty cool. If you could, I'll check them out for you right now. We can look at them and I'll review them for you. What's that? There were 2 police-involved shootings, and they happened on Wednesday, but I was too busy filming my video to watch them and understand what was going on. Well guys, I think I know what my video is about now. Let's watch the video of Terence Crutcher's interaction with the police.
Betty Joe, where are you at? He's got his hands up there for her now. Mike, I'm going to hit the recorder. This guy's still walking and following commands.
Not for taser, I think.
I've got a feeling that's about to happen.
That looks like a bad dude, too. To be on something.
Which way are they facing?
Police 1, they're facing westbound. I think he may have just been tasered.
Shots fired!
Ooh.
321, we have shots fired. We have 1 suspect down. We need MC here.
They need to get this eastbound closed down if they could, because they're not going to be able to let anybody.
Okay. Police 1, we're going to need to get eastbound 36th Street North. Actually, we're just going to need 36th Street North shut down at Lewis, and then probably back off about 3 or 4 blocks to the west of there.
Now let's dissect this video just a little bit. First, you have a helicopter pilot saying, "That looks like a bad dude. He might be on something." I don't know about you, but Terence Crutcher just looks like a large black man to me, and that's really the only conclusion I can see someone coming to that would make him seem dangerous. When you're white, the worst thing you have to worry about is someone assuming that you're highly unhealthy when really you have a balanced diet. When you're black, your size can determine your level of dangerousness. Skinny black kids with dreads, kinda dangerous. Skinny black kid with cornrows, pretty dangerous. Middle-aged, father of 3, teacher at a preparatory school, super fucking dangerous. The shooting victim was Terence Crutcher, who is all of the things I just stated above. And what blows my mind is that in all of these police shootings, there was always a crutch that the conservatives could lean on that would justify their argument in some sense that this person was a threat in some way. They were either doing something illegal or resisting or running away. But Terence Crutcher just happened to be a guy whose car stalled in the middle of the road and was suspected of no crime, still shot dead. And yet we're told that we're bringing up race too much and that not everything is a race problem. If we keep ignoring these issues, they're going to keep happening, and we need to stop these issues from happening. In order to do that, we need to talk about them, but some people don't want you to do that. We're always told that the police protect us. And while I agree with that, there are a lot of officers who do a great job of protecting their citizens. We're also told that for that reason we should not criticize police brutality. But here you have a man who needed to be protected. This is a man whose car had broken down in the middle of the road and probably could have used some help in that situation, but instead he is shot dead. So if the fact that a lot of police protect us is the reason that we shouldn't criticize police brutality, then what does this situation bring about? Vox published an article with the headline, "If you don't understand Black Lives Matter after Terence Crutcher's situation, you never will." I totally agree with that, because there are tons of people on this planet who will never understand the movement because I don't really know why, but they have these preconceived notions that black people are dangerous and that anytime a black person ends up getting shot by the police, it's because they were posing an imminent threat to the police. And I would love to live in a world where that is the only reason that anyone gets shot by the police. But unfortunately, at this point, that is not the case. We've kept hearing them make the argument of, well, they committed a crime. If they didn't want to get harassed by the police, they shouldn't have committed a crime. Well, what the fuck did Terence Crutcher do? Did he do something? Did he commit a crime that made him deserving of being shot? No, his car broke down in the middle of the road and he was still murdered. I'm sorry if I've had a little bit of trouble keeping myself calm during this video, but this is insane. This keeps happening, and before we were refusing to do something about it because they were people committing crimes and therefore they deserve to die or something. I don't understand that logic, but that was the logic being made. And then guess what? Now this guy did not commit any crime, he wasn't resisting. He had his hands up. But for some reason, this man is murdered by someone who thought he was a threat. What the fuck was he doing to threaten you? I like to talk about how people need to come up with something that helps them sympathize with victims of police shootings. For me, when Philando Castile died and when Terence Crutcher died, it does strike a particular chord with me. More so than the other ones because these two guys were both teachers at public schools. Well, Philando Castile wasn't a teacher, he worked in the lunchroom, but they were both involved in the public school system. And I would not be the person that I am today if it weren't for teachers and people in the public school system. So that really strikes a chord with me because I cannot imagine if I went to school one day and found out that one of my teachers had been murdered. Fox News and their David Clarks and their Rudy Giuliani's have been silent on this issue because I know they so desperately want to come up with the reason to hate this man and to vilify him, but they can't. And now Donald Trump, who actually previously denounced the officer who shot Sandra Bland and said that the officer was totally in the wrong, has actually been the sole voice in the conservative community that has spoken out about this and denounced it. So props to him. As much as I hate the man, props to him for doing this. And now let's watch the video.
It's a question that's on everyone's mind, and I feel honored to be able to ask you this question and for you to answer it for the first time, to address it for the first time, because I know the media is here. How y'all doing? And your response is going to reverberate around this planet. So you can take your time and think it through. What do you have to say about the recent shootings of unarmed black men by the police, up to and including the shooting in North Carolina on yesterday and the shooting in Tulsa the day before?
Well, as you know, I'm a tremendous believer in the police and law enforcement because we need that for ourselves. We do. And I've really gotten the endorsement from so many different groups, and they're great people. They're great people. Now, great people, you always have problems. You have somebody in there that either makes a mistake, that's bad, or that chokes. I must tell you, I watched the shooting in particular in Tulsa. And that man was hands up. That man went to the car, hands up, put his hand on the car. I mean, to me, it looked like he did everything you're supposed to do. And he looked like a really good man. And maybe I'm a little clouded because I saw his family talking about him after the fact. So you get a little bit, different image maybe. But to me, he looked like somebody that was doing what they were asking him to do. And this young officer, I don't know what she was thinking. I don't know what she was thinking. But I'm very, very troubled by that. I'm very, very troubled by that. And we have to be very careful.
And this is really powerful. This is Terence Crutcher's sister at a press conference. She said, "You all want to know who that big bad dude was? That big bad dude was my twin brother. That big bad dude was a father. That big bad dude was a son. That big bad dude was enrolled at Tulsa Community College just wanting to make us proud. That big bad dude loved God. That big bad dude was at church singing with all his flaws every week." It's just rough when you see stuff like this, and when you literally have people denying that these things happened, it the progress that we need to make is just completely halted. We need to do something about stuff like this. And there are reports saying that he was on PCP and that he had a history of drug use with PCP. But that doesn't matter because they didn't know that at the time of the shooting. And on top of that, drug use does not justify murder. I mean, the man had his hands up. He was doing everything that you told him to. And this really bothers me. Her criminal report says, fear resulted in her unreasonable actions, which led her to shooting Crutcher. Shelby is accused of unlawfully and unnecessarily shooting Crutcher after he did not comply with her lawful orders. What orders did she give him that he didn't comply with? Because it seems to me that he was standing still with his hands up on his car, doing nothing wrong. So what were your orders? Get on top of your car and do a chicken dance? Take your shoes off and tie him 3 times? I mean, what the fuck what did you tell him to do that he didn't do? He was doing everything that is seen in a compliant police interaction ever. That's always what you're told to do. So anything that she told him to do that he wasn't doing is not something that I don't think she's supposed to tell him to do. I mean, he had his hands up. He was standing there with his hands on his car. What is he supposed to do? What did you tell him to do that he didn't do? He wasn't running at you. He wasn't running away from you. He was standing there with his hands up. Like I said earlier, there's always been a crutch that the conservatives could fall back on, that they could somehow seem like they were justifying the murder. But in this case, there is no reason that Terence Crutcher should have died. So I sincerely hope that we can come up to a solution with problems like this and stop them from happening. And that's where I'm going to end this video on today, because this is infuriating to me that these things keep happening, especially this one, when there's not even a crutch that you can fall back on to somehow look like you're justifying the situation. So yeah, if you like this video, please like it. If you like it so much that you want to see more like it, please subscribe. And if you feel like you have something you can add to the conversation, please comment down below. If you want to leave a mean comment about how you're going to murder me, please also utilize the comment section in that respect. I'm just tired of all these things happening. I get so worked up I can barely get through this outro. And of course, as always, if you're still watching this video, I love you more than my emotionally detached personality will allow me to express, and that frustrates me very deeply, much like this situation going on here. Thank you and good night.